Alright you guys, thanks for clicking on the video today. For this video we're going to be doing the stage 1 modification package for the Subaru. So if you haven't seen the previous video, I'll put a card up top here and you can click on that and check that out. In the previous video we did a stage 0 tune, which was just all stock components and a tune just to max out the OEM parts. So now we're adding some aftermarket parts to get rid of some of the restrictions that are present with the factory system. In the typical way that people modify cars, the first thing that they like to change is the intake. So what I got today is a Cobb SF Intake. It would not be my first choice in intake, but they do have a carb legal intake, so that's why I went and decided to go this way, so I don't get state refed in the future. So I paid a little extra just for that carb legal certification, but if you don't live in California, then there's other intakes out there for you. So in this video what we're going to be doing is installing the Cobb SF Intake, and we are also going to be tuning a little bit for the MAF sensor scaling, and we're also going to be messing with the boost and timing a little bit. And then we'll do the virtual dyno and the drag racing as in the previous video. I'm not going to go into too much detail on the MAF scaling because I have already made a video that's very detailed on how to tune MAF sensor scaling for an aftermarket intake system. So I'm going to put a card up here for that as well, just in case you want to go in more depth on the MAF scaling, but we'll also be showing other stuff in here as well. So before we get into showing you what the new intake is, this is the old intake that I was running. This is a KS Tech Big MAF, I believe. There's also a Mega MAF that's a bigger diameter for making more power, but this one I think is good for like 500. The main factor that contributes to you having to adjust MAF sensor scaling is the diameter of the MAF housing, which is this part right here. The part where the MAF is. We can measure it real quick. Is 72 millimeters about. So the KS Tech is 72 millimeters. Then we come over here to the Cobb one, and this one is 68 millimeters. So it's a little smaller in diameter. And I've seen people make a lot of power with these intakes, so I don't know if it's just a better design or what, but the MAF scaling is going to be different probably, just because of that smaller diameter. I was hoping they would be the same and I could just kind of transfer the tables over, but I'm probably gonna have to start from scratch for the most part. So let me just show you what comes with this Cobb kit. So with the Cobb kit you get the air filter. This looks like it's a Cobb, it says Cobb on it, but it looks like it's probably like an AEM dry flow or something like that, similar to what's on that one. You got a silicone coupler that goes to your turbo inlet. This is a mounting bracket that goes on the MAF housing and bolts to the body. This is your MAF housing. It has like some straighteners and stuff to clean up the airflow going to the MAF, apparently. This is just some insulating like seal to go on the bottom of your airbox. Then we have the airbox here. Pretty self-explanatory. This sits in there. Keeps the heat from going to the intake too much, and you have a lid for the airbox, and I might make one of these out of carbon fiber in the near future, so stay tuned for that as well. And one thing I do like about this airbox is that it does I mean it primarily shields the intake from the engine bay gases, but it also utilizes the factory snorkel system that goes in right in that hole. So I do like that idea. And then it also comes with some carb legal stickers. So that's nice. You're supposed to put these in the engine bay near the part, so probably like the best spot to put this would be on here, but I think that's kind of ugly, so I'll figure out what I'm going to do with these later, but we got them. So, oh, and then you also get a couple bags of hardware for these. So I'm going to go ahead and do the preliminary assembly of this stuff, and then we're going to get it put in the car. So first thing, we're going to get this old intake system out of here. So I put the little U-channel edging that they provide with you, I put it on the part where the intake sits. So there ended up being enough of that U-channel edging that I just ended up doing the whole bottom. So we're sealed off pretty good now. So I'm gonna get this installed. We're gonna install this onto here. So I just loosened it up a little bit. There we go. Easy peasy. And then I'm also going to see if this fits on here, because these are nice to have on your filters. And I would say that that fits good enough. Yeah, that'll work. Not as tight of a fit as I would like, but it'll keep it covered. But what this is the AEM dry flow cover. So it's for these dry flow air filters. And it's just water repellent material, but it doesn't affect the airflow. So these are nice to have on there, just if you're worried about this getting wet and affecting, you know, your car or sucking up water. If you completely submerge the intake, it's not going to help you, but if like you're in the rain and you get a splash of water, it'll deflect off of this cover instead of soaking into your filter. So I got my MAF sensor, and it's a good idea to clean these off before you install them, just because, so if you're tuning, I guess you could start with a fresh, clean slate. So you just want to basically clean that hot wire a bit. And that's about it. And then it'll dry off the rest of the way as we're installing it. But I'm going to just make sure the O-ring's on there. And then we'll put the hardware in there. Come on, you fucking bitch. Let's go. Alright, so just like that, the airbox is in. To be honest with you, for the price you pay for this airbox and intake, the fitment is not as good as I thought it would be. There's a lot of like flexing and bending to make things fit. I mean, it's in, but like just some of the quality is just not there like you would expect for paying, you know, $480 for a intake and airbox. That's my unbiased opinion on this intake right now. Maybe it works really good, I don't know, but if I didn't live in California, I would still be running that KS Tech intake. So that's my opinion. I'm sure lots of people have good experiences with the Cobb stuff, but yeah, the fitment not as good as I would expect from something that costs this much. So now that the intake is in, I'm going to start the tuning process. I'm going to do the MAF sensor scaling off camera, and then I will come back to do the rest of the tuning for this video. But if you want to see how the MAF scaling is done, I'll put a card up for the video that is that shows you how to do MAF scaling. It's very detailed, so you know, it's enough information for one video. So check out that video if you want to learn how to MAF scaling. If not, stay here and I'll show you how to tune the rest of the stuff. Sorry if you can't see me, it's dark out. But so interestingly enough, the Cobb SF Intake, it didn't require me to change anything with the MAF scaling, which was kind of surprising, because I think the actual diameter of the MAF housing is larger, but whatever way they designed it, the MAF scaling, like, and the correction values are within spec, so I don't have to change any of the MAF scaling. And it does say on the intake that if it's a 2007 to 2009 Legacy GT that it requires a tune, but it doesn't say anything about 2005 and 2006, so I don't know what that has to do with anything, but didn't require a tune. So I'm a little concerned about the like power potential of the intake if it's not requiring a tune at this power level. So we'll see how much power we can make from it, but I kind of have a feeling that it's going to become a restriction at some point. So we might have to do something about that. But for now, to finish off the stage 1 tune, I didn't change much. So I'm going to show you what I changed. All right, so for stage 1, first thing that I changed, this intake is hopefully going to relieve some of the restriction. I increased the max boost pressure target here to 16, just to see if we can get more boost out of the car with the less restriction. But I also kind of have a feeling that the downpipe is a restriction, and that's what's keeping the boost from being able to hit 16. So we're going to try this out. So I just made the boost table higher target, and then I changed the wastegate duty cycle tables so that we're running it to 95% wastegate duty cycle, just to give us the best chance. You don't want to ever go full 100%. So 95 is about as high as you want to go. I usually stick to around 90, but we're going to just try and see how high we can get it. So got that at 95. And then the initial table is just 20% less of the max table. Just as a safety for now, I came in and I just, from 1.5 grams per revolution, I lowered the timing by 4 degrees in this area right here, just as a safety. And then if the boot, we'll see what the boost does. If the boost is good, then we could add in some more timing. Or if the boost doesn't increase at all, put the timing back to what it was. And then there would really be no tune at all. So we're just going to test this out real quick. I'm going to do a pull. All right, so with that pull, what I was able to see is that the boost pressure, it didn't really change much. Peak boost pressure was 14.2, and I don't think that was because of the intake necessarily. I think that was more of adding 5% more duty cycle. The last time it was like 13.5, so it didn't even go up 1 psi. So I put the boost table back to what it was, except I left it at like 15 just to give it a little extra push, you know. But it doesn't even look like it was hitting full wastegate duty cycle. It looks like it went up to 90. There might be a failsafe or something. I did put this pull into virtual dyno just to see. The blue one is the stage 0, and the red one is the current one. You can see it's kind of sluggish up top, but it's because I pulled the timing out. But it almost made as much horsepower. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the boost control tables back to where they were, and I'm going to put the timing back to where it was. So basically the stage 0 tune, and I'm going to do a pull with that and see what kind of number we get here. And I'd be surprised if there's a very big difference, but we'll see. So I'm going to go do another pull. So we got some interesting results here. So right now what I'm showing you is the 3 different stages that we've done so far. So in red is the stock tune, in blue is stage 0, and in green is stage 1. Let's just start with, let's look at the stage 1. So the tune for stage 1 is the same tune as stage 0, just with the only difference between the stage 0 run and the stage 1 run is that there's a Cobb SF intake on it. No tuning was required. The only difference is the intake. We made 213 wheel horsepower at 6,186 RPM, and we made 210 foot-pounds of torque at 4,800 RPM, 4,900 RPM. So it is a power increase, but most of the power increase is still from the stage 0 tune. So the intake didn't really help all that much. So it looks like the intake did open up the airflow a little bit up top. So instead of, you know, peaking here, I mean, we have area over, you know, more power over the whole graph, but instead of peaking out at 5,000 RPMs like it did with the stage 0 with the stock airbox, it kind of kept going up until all the way till we stopped the pole. Was where it had peak. So it does have more airflow room than the stock airbox. So we got 17 horsepower gain and 7 foot-pounds of torque gained. So the torque is in the same area, but the graph just kind of lifted up a little bit, and the horsepower is a lot higher in the RPM range, and the peak horsepower is higher where the peak horsepower was previously as well. So the intake did do something, not as much as I thought it would. I was really hoping that the boost would increase, but if you can see on this bottom graph here, the boost is the same. If we compare the stock tune to stage 1, we see lots of a big power gain everywhere, and this is what Cobb advertises. They don't offer a stage 0 tune, but we can see that, you know, a lot of the power gained was from just tuning with the stock stuff, and that the actual intake doesn't offer too much of a power gain, mainly just up top in the higher RPMs. So not as big of a difference as I kind of thought it would be, but it definitely is a difference nonetheless. So there's our data so far. The next step is going to be, we're going to go to the drag strip and see what kind of times this thing runs. Car's still slow, so not making too much power, but I think from that power gain we might be able to get into the low 10s, permitted that my driving is decent. All right guys, so I'm at Barona drag strip right now. We're going to be doing the stage 1 drag racing to see what kind of times we run with the stage 1 setup. So it is dark, so you can't see the best. So right now we are stage 1, so we just have the Cobb intake and everything else is stock, and then we have the tune. So I don't think it's going to run drastically faster than it did last time with just the tune, but we should get a little bit more top end, and hopefully I can get my launching down, and then we could see some better times. Right now I'm actually inflating the tires. Reason behind it is the 6-speed has front and rear limited slip diffs. So with those limited slip diffs, I have way too much traction for the amount of power that I'm making, and that's making it hard to launch it without bogging. So the idea behind inflating the tires is less traction, and then I might be able to get a good launch without bogging it so hard. So we're gonna give that a shot, see what kind of times I can run today, but that's what we're doing right now.
Quicker than 850, or we're gonna have to kick her out of there.
Okay, not gonna happen. Too slow. If I run an 850, I'll be surprised. Felt pretty good. The launch was better. Yeah. I did smoke my clutch still, but not as bad. Oh, it was a 1010. That's quite a bit better than the last.
The other one's like 1050.
Yeah. Alright, so we're going to be racing a WRX. I don't know if it's modified or not, but from the outside it looks pretty stock, but we'll see. Probably a little heat soaked, but we're trying to get these runs in fast, so they might get slower. That still felt good. Usually I like to let the car chill for a minute between runs, but maybe we'll try getting some better ones later. That was a 10-11. That's pretty good. Not bad. So we're getting pretty consistent now. So we did 10-10, 10-22 or 10-21, and then 10-11. So we're gonna do one more, and then we'll use that as our average, and we'll compare the times that way. So I'm gonna do one more pass. Whoa, 999. Just barely in the nines. That's so funny. 999. Sweet. Yeah, so that's doing pretty good. I think I'm gonna let the car cool down for a little bit, and I'll do some more runs. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in the video or not. We'll see how long it is, but yeah, we're gonna do some more runs. But those were the ones that we're counting as the average. So that's the best one of the day, and I beat him somehow. He ran a faster time, but I think he just didn't get off the line quick enough, because he was coming up on me at the end there. But still took the W on that one. So got some interesting results there. Even though the power difference as far as the actual number goes wasn't that great, we did see quite a bit of performance increase on the drag strip. So our previous average 8th mile time for stage 0 was a 10:55. The average for stage 1 was a 10:07, which in drag racing world, that's a big piece of time, even though it's a fraction of a second. That's still a pretty good increase. Very interesting results. Next video, I'm going to be installing the downpipe and intercooler. We're calling that stage 2. We're going to do a little bit more tuning. We're going to make quite a bit more power, I think, because I think that downpipe is the main limiting factor at this point. And then we're going to do the same thing we did with this video, virtual dyno, drag strip. So it's going to be a pretty good video, so stay tuned for that. If you aren't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon down there so you can get notified when the stage 2 video drops. If you like the video, please leave a like. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you know somebody who might like this video, please share it with them. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.